Welcome back to the Jonestead. I'm Mary, and I just posted a short just a little bit ago specifically talking about 4 basic self-defense blocks that I think everyone should know. And I've also done a couple other videos talking about different types of strikes that people can use. And the reason I do this is because I think it's extremely important for people to be very aware of what's going on around them, but also be very prepared in the event that somebody tries to attack them or steal their purse or steal their car. And in order to be prepared to do that, you need to work on yourself physically. I'm not saying, go Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything, but there are little things that you can do. Just even walking every day makes a huge difference. And also looking into taking martial arts. And I take Taekwondo, and I'm a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo, and still go and train. I try to do it at least 3 to 4 times a week. I'm usually successful in doing that, or I double up on my classes. And Taekwondo is a huge benefit because not only are you staying fit, you're using your balance, you're learning, your upper body strikes, your lower body strikes, and it also keeps you mentally aware and to prepare for and to be prepared. And in this day and age, what we're seeing right now, we're seeing a lot of people operating on extremely high level of emotions, and they're lashing out in irrational ways. And I think it's really important for all of us to be prepared to defend ourselves against somebody who is acting that way. Hopefully it never happens, and hopefully you never need to use it other than when you're in class or when you're sparring with a friend of yours, or you're breaking boards, and hopefully you don't need to use it outside the class. But also the other benefit that I see with the sport of Taekwondo is just this weekend, the school that I go to hosted a tournament. And so you had all age ranges, starting from white belts where they did kicking competition, showing their basic kicks. And then you had, pretty much all the way up to the black belts and above that. So something that I observed that really I came away with learning a really big lesson from, and it was a good reminder to me, was there was one of the young students who I think he was a bow yellow belt, and so they were doing forms competition, and he got up there, and there were 2 of them at a time, and he froze. He started to do the form, and then he froze. Now keep in mind, there are a lot of people, parents watching, and other students are watching, and so it's a big deal for anyone to do this. And so anyway, this young student froze. Well, he asked the judges, one of the coaches said, "Would you like to start over?" And he asked the judges if he could please start his form over. Meanwhile, the other student had continued on with his form, which he didn't do correctly. He did little mistakes, but the young man that froze didn't know this. So the judges allowed him to have a second chance, and I watched him. He was starting to cry, and you could see that he was struggling with wanting to just quit or go on. Well, he chose to continue on, and he sucked it up, and he came out and he did a fantastic form, and he did it. And then so he won that round, and then he had round 2. So just a few minutes later, he did another phenomenal form, and he ended up winning that's part of the division. So I think from watching that's a huge learning point and teaching point for him for his future, because had he quit, he would have never known that he would have been as successful as he was. And he wanted to quit, and he was crying, and he's in front of everybody, and that's not easy for anybody to do that. Well, he gathered himself back together, and he came out and he did 2 really good forms, ended up winning. And we're talking, I think maybe he was 9 years old. And I just thought that's a life lesson for him. And it was a life lesson reminder for all of us adults that were watching what was going on. And so just from a teaching perspective, whether it's taekwondo or jujitsu or just going to the gym, excuse me. These are things that I think everybody needs to start zeroing in on so that you can best protect yourself. And even if you're not protecting yourself, you're in a position to help other people. And I think the more people, I'm starting to see more and more people starting to really take fitness seriously, not just because for fitness sake, but to make sure that they're strong enough and fit enough that if you need to run away from something, they have the stamina to do it. Or if they need to help somebody, they're able to do it. And so it's kind of becoming more out of a necessity of being able to survive in kind of this crazy world that we're living in. So again, I wanted to share the story from the tournament this weekend. Also share how important I think it is to get yourself in a position where you know basic self-defense. And I've really enjoyed Taekwondo. It's a great challenge, and it's literally any age. And everyone starts out at the same. Everyone starts out with a white belt, not knowing anything. And I started doing it years ago when my son was taking, and instead of sitting on the sideline, I decided to actually start taking classes. So, but it also definitely gives you more confidence in knowing when you're out that if you needed to, that you could protect yourself and others. So anyway, hope you found this helpful. Thank you all for watching, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Have a good night.